my brother taught me how to taste the bag. Get right in the field, I had to make a pass. The day he lost it, so wish I could take it back.
Yo, it's your boy Demo Athletics here, baby. Live in action, after hours at the barbershop. I told you guys we were gonna have a special guest here, Alanthebarber, my right-hand man. He's been cutting my hair for, I would say, 7 years now.
7 years?
7 years, bro.
No way. 7 years?
Bro, 7 years.
It's crazy.
7 years. And I used to go to Alan's house, shit, almost all the time. I know a lot of people, they kind of, Demo, why do you get cut every week? Hey, sometimes you gotta just do it, you know? If you like it, you know, you're gonna like the service, especially a barber that knows what you want. But this podcast, you guys are about to learn more about Alan. You know, he's been cutting my hair since what? You were 15 years old. So
yeah,
you guys will learn his history. So Alan, welcome. You know, if you want to just kind of introduce yourself a little bit. And
yeah, like you said, I've been cutting Demo for like about 7 years now, since I was 15. I grew up here in Fremont. I've been cutting it since I was like 10 years old. And I've been basically cutting ever since. So then got Demo with like a mutual friend, and then I've just been cutting him ever since. So been solid with Demo for a minute now. So yeah.
Man, it's been a wonderful journey. So Alan, you mentioned you've been cutting my hair, right? You know, we talked a little bit about, you know, our small little journey. So what kind of got you to kind of like get in this route of cutting hair? You know, I know most people knew you as like an athlete, right? Like you played soccer. A lot of people don't know, man, like you're solid with the hands, bro. Like that was kind of something shocking when you told me. It was like, you know, that you boxed. So like your upbringing, bro, like what was it like, man? Like were you able to kind of understand that like athletics was going to be something, a part of your life? Or did you kind of know you wanted to be like a business entrepreneur or kind of go to college, go to school? Like what was it like growing up?
Growing up, I always wanted to be a professional soccer player. Like that was my number one sport. That's what my dad, you know, got me into. So since I was 3 years old, I was basically playing club with, you know, 5, 6 years old, because I was already like good, you know. So to me, that was my dream, you know. Like I wanted to be a professional soccer player. So that's basically what I kept doing throughout my whole like childhood. But I guess as I got older, literally this barbershop, you know, like I was basically 10 years old when I started cutting. So this barbershop is pretty much the one that kind of started it for me. Like the owner, his wife was my 5th grade teacher. So she's the one that told us to come to the grand opening. And, you know, at the time I was getting cut at a salon, you know, so yeah. I mean, I didn't know nothing about barbershop. So to me, it was like, cool, like, oh, what is a barbershop? You know, like I want to go check it out. So I didn't come to the grand opening, but I did come like a few weeks later or something like that just to get my hair cut. And ever since then, as soon as I walked in, I just kind of fell in love with the whole vibe, the whole culture. And then just from the little bit of YouTube that was back then, I would learn, and I just started cutting myself. And yeah, I just literally in the bathroom for like 3 hours trying to give myself a taper. And my mom's like, what are you doing in there? You know, like what the hell's going on, you know? Yeah. So then she's seen like, oh, it actually doesn't look bad. And ever since then, I just would literally cut my hair like every other day, you know, like just trying to get as good as I can. And I guess I was still playing soccer, but I was basically at that time, like 10, 11, 12 years old. Like I'm in middle school, going on to like high school. I'm like really excited to play like varsity soccer. But then I'm also cutting at the same time. So I'm in between that. And then it's kind of like, damn, like, am I good enough to even, you know, be able to play college ball or even go pro, or, you know what I mean? So I'm like in this stage of like, is it even gonna be worth it to like continue this soccer path if like I'm just gonna kind of like waste my time, you know? And that's kind of when I started boxing also. So then I found boxing and I just fell in love with boxing too, but it was more so like my mom, you know, she was just like not okay with boxing. So my dad said, you're gonna feel a punch and you're gonna decide for yourself. So then I'm in the middle of boxing, soccer, and barbering, you know? I'm basically trying to juggle all three at the same time as I'm in high school. And I pretty much, I'm going to the boxing gym. I'm boxing literally every single day, you know? So I fell in love with boxing. I kind of just started to slow down on soccer, and I kind of just said it was just not gonna. It wasn't something that I could see myself doing like at a college level or a pro level. So at that point, I was just kind of over it. I was like, I'm just gonna finish my varsity high school years, you know, and enjoy that. And I already know I'm gonna be able to basically, if I'm not gonna be able to box, like I at least know I'm gonna go all in with barbering, you know. So it was hard because, you know, that's literally what I always wanted to. All I wanted to do was just to be a professional soccer player, you know. So it was hard, but you kind of, I guess, have to like see what your goals are, see what you want to do in a few years, and you kind of just have to take those decisions. You know what I mean? So, yeah, like I basically started my apprenticeship when I was a junior in high school. Thanks to Alex, thanks to the owner of this barbershop, and it kind of just came full circle. You know, like now, literally 10, 12 years later, I'm working here now, you know, and it's just crazy, you know, but I would have never thought, you know, like what barbering was gonna do for me, you know. So even though I probably could have definitely gone through the whole sports route, I really just wanted to be able to provide a good living for myself and for my family, and so that's why I just went all in with barbering, just because of the head start that I kind of already had on everyone else, you know. Like, no, there's not too many barbers that start so young like that, you know. So I was already good by the time I was cutting you, which is why you kept coming to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like if I'm already good enough at this point in my life, like I just got to go all in, you know. Yeah. And I know that if I was able to get in contact with the right people and set up a good plan, I'd be able to set myself up, you know, to, I guess financially, you know, go through that right path, you know. So even though I love sports, I love boxing, I love soccer, I kind of just chose the whole barbering part of it over that. It is hard, but I mean, with the sacrifices, I've basically been able to, you know, accomplish some good things, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's hard, but I'm glad I can say that it's paid off so far, you know?
Of course. So, like, I know we dove into a lot of things, man, and I think this is one thing that I've always been so proud of you, bro, is this podcast is so special to me because it's like, bro, you faced success at such a young age. And I remember, like, the times when you were cutting my hair, bro, like, I can't even count how many, like, real conversations we've had, bro, that, you know, stems from, you know, advice you've given me from relationships to sports to, you know, just everything, bro. Like, you've really seen me grow up, and like it's like I've really seen you grow up. So like you being this young, successful person that you are, man, like I know you mentioned something about your mom kind of just not being for boxing. Like what was like the family dynamics like? You know, I know you got siblings, so like I kind of want to know, like, what was it like for you and your siblings to kind of tell your parents, like, hey, I want to play this sport, or I want to do this in my life? Like I know you're from Jalisco, so a lot of things could be different in a, you know, Mexican household, because, you know, I come from a Middle Eastern household, so we kind of have the similar traits of what our parents feel like we should be doing. So kind of what's your insight on that?
I think at the end of the day, parents are gonna just want what's best for you, right? So what she was just thinking in her head was, you're gonna start boxing, you're gonna start getting hurt, you're gonna, you know what I mean? She's thinking the worst. Yeah. She doesn't understand the culture of boxing. She doesn't understand how there's levels to boxing. She doesn't understand that I'm not just gonna go in there and they're just gonna start beating me up. You know what I mean? That's not how it works. But that's not what she thinks. She thinks boxing, you're gonna get punched in your head and that's it. You know? So my dad understood that, but my mom didn't. So I didn't listen to her. She told me she didn't want to, but I literally forged my mom's signature, and I was driving myself to the gym, and she thought it was soccer practice. So I just took that upon myself to try to, I'm like, I want to be a boxer. I'm just going to do that, you know? Like, I just need to do this because I know I could be great. Like, why not just do it, you know? So I started coming home with like little mouses under my eye, little black eyes here and there. And she's like, what are you doing? You know, you're not going to soccer practice, you're boxing, you know? Yeah. So that's kind of when I had to like just tell her. And then she told me like, well, if you're gonna be doing it behind my back, like obviously you really care about the sport, you really want to like put your all into it. I'm gonna support you, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what it comes down to. Like I think parents just really want to support you, but they also want to take care of you, you know. And it's hard because now that I'm a father too, it's like imagine, you know what I mean? I'm like pushing my son to do something that, you know, might be dangerous. You know, you just want to look out for them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely understood my mom, but I mean, we're Mexican, man. Like she knows. Like I've always grown up fighting, and you know what I mean. I always get into little altercations, and I was always that child, you know, from comparing it to like my brothers, you know, like we'll fight amongst ourselves, but
Yep.
I would always be that one that, you know what I mean, would just have some type of trouble somewhere. I just find it, you know. So she kind of also understood, like, okay, like this might even be a good thing for you, you know. So I mean, she accepted it, she supported it, and then ever since then, like, you know what I mean, she'd always help me out. She'd try to meal prep for me, you know, make my diet right and all that stuff, you know. So I think you could just agree that like parents just really want to support you, but also want to just, you know, make sure you're gonna be straight. You know what I mean?
Of course. Man, that's awesome, man. Like, I feel like with boxing, bro, is such a brutal sport. You know, now I'm transitioning into it now. So obviously you've been doing it longer than me, you know, and you know, we talk about our boxing history and like things like that. But now that you mentioned your son, man, cute little boy, man. So how is it like now, you know, when you're at that level of being a parent, you know, like what type of sports do you think your son, like you want him to get into? You know, are you gonna let him box? Are you gonna kind of let him kind of figure out his way with soccer? Like, what do you think your safety is at with your mindset, you know, now that you're a little bit older and wiser?
Because I know what boxing can do, I definitely want him to get into boxing. I've literally already taken him to like boxing fights at Vegas, Long Beach. I've already taken him to literally like fights, you know, and that's literally all he's watched. Like it's either boxing, Disney movies, you know what I mean? But as soon as I put anything boxing related, he could just hear the commentary, and he'll start doing the little us, you know what I mean? He already knows, you know. It's like he gets excited for it. So I know if I just naturally kind of just have him around that scene, if he just sees me shadow boxing at the house, or you know what I mean, with the garage, I'm having that basically as like my little home setup with the gym, and I got bags in there and everything. So I think if I keep kind of having him around, he's gonna naturally want to like lean towards boxing. So hopefully, I would love to have him box, but I'm gonna let him try everything, you know, and then just see whatever he's good at, whatever he wants to actually do. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna force him to do it, but I would love for him to, you know, start boxing, because I wish like I boxed sooner, you know. I wish I started when I was a kid, you know what I mean? And you see all the great boxers that did start super young and had that support, man, I mean, they're great, you know, because of all the consistent work, right? So if he could get into boxing, and if he doesn't want to actually do that, I'm gonna just be there 100%, like, because that's already a sport that I love, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, like any sport, you know what I mean? I love sports, so it doesn't really matter, like, to me, as long as, you know, it's something that he actually wants to do, you know what I mean? So I guess we'll see.
What kind of got you into sports, like growing up? You know, like I know we all have like our role models, you know, and like I would say, like, who was like your hero growing up that like kind of brought you into the sports that you played? You know, I know you mentioned soccer and boxing, you know, like, because it's tough, man. Like, I don't know who I had when I was like growing up, you know, in my family, because there wasn't too many people playing sports besides my cousin or, you know, my brother or like older cousins. But for you, it was like, who was that person for you that really like changed your viewpoints on sports?
I guess for soccer, just watching like Cristiano Ronaldo, you know, you got CR7, you got Messi. You just see like that type of level, and then once you're playing, you're like, damn, like these guys are making it look so easy, you know. So you just sit there on YouTube and watch so much tape, and you just watch them live in games, and you just get inspired. You're like, it's just crazy, you know. So that those players for sure, you know, there's like so many players that you just like, damn, like, especially depending on the position that you play, like you try to like mimic those type of different plays or little, it could be anything, you know, like little different things, you know. So like, you know, players like that, or for boxing, I mean, like Canelo, you know, like growing up, just getting together as a family, like Marquez, you know, you got like Oscar de la Hoya, you know, like these are like classic fights, you know, that it's just part of the culture, you know. So you see that and you're like, damn, like, I mean, that could be me, you know. So you just get inspired and you just try to do the most, you know. So you could probably like do the same thing, you know, but they're just so great that, you know what I mean, you just get inspired, you just want to do the same thing. So I guess like those few, you know, like for sure.
Man, that's solid, man. So what I want to ask you is, like, growing up, like, what changed your life with sports? Like, do you look at sports being such a positive, like, role in your life now that where you're at now? Like, could you still apply sports to your daily life every single day today, even though you're not playing with like a sports team or anything like that? Because I know you mentioned you played soccer, right? So, you know, kind of diving into that like team role, you know, if you want to mention like where you played at in high school and things like that. But like, what does sports do for you, you know, growing up and then where you're at now?
I've always been super competitive. It don't matter. We could be playing anything. I've just always been so competitive. I always try to be the best that I can be, you know? Like I want to win, you know what I mean? I want to be the best. So I think that had a lot to do with it. But then I think that also just kind of put me ahead and just like in all types of aspects, because in order for you to be like better than everyone, you got to put in that extra time, you know? And I guess if you're younger, unless you have someone like that's kind of pushing you, like, I mean, it's harder to do it, you know, because you have all these different distractions. So I was always super disciplined, you know, and I was always so motivated that it kind of just came natural, you know. I kind of just knew what I wanted. So it was just like, I know I'm going to have to put in that time. I'm going to have to put in that work, and, you know, the results are going to come. So, for example, like when I was, like I said, like I started playing club when I was like 3, 4 years old. I was already playing with 5, 6 years old guys. So, you know, because I was already at higher level. Why? Because I was training every day. After practice, I was still practicing. I was still staying, you know, doing extra things that those other kids weren't doing. So obviously you're going to get ahead, you know? When I was in my freshman year in high school, I was already playing academy, so they didn't let me play freshman year varsity because you're not allowed to. But by the time I was a sophomore, I was already playing varsity, and I was a starter too. I was literally the only starter. I even started on like senior night, you know what I mean? So things like that, you know what I mean? Once it was my junior and senior year, I was captain, you know, like I don't choose to be captain. The players have to choose who's going to be captain, and they chose me because, you know, you could just tell right away the type of work that gets put into and the type of like role that you could have and the type of voice that you could have. It's like same thing when you play football, you know, people are going to listen to you because they know that you're going to be able to lead them in the right path, right? You're going to be able to give them the right calls. It's the same thing, you know? They trust you basically, right?
What would you say would be like the biggest insight you took from that? Like, do you feel like you becoming captain, were there people that were envious about you? Like in high school, you know, people have their cliques, you know, like there's people that will hate on you, you know, people that support you. So like, how was that like? Like, would people show you a lot of respect around campus? Were there guys on the team that kind of like would hate on you, kind of start drama with you? Or would you say like you were neutral with everybody, you know, and there really wasn't no conflict?
I don't think there was ever really any conflict. I think it was more so respect because I was trying to, it wasn't more so like individual, more so for the team, you know, and they respect that because I'm just trying to make us win, you know, like, so I think they saw that, and so it wasn't ever really like envy or nothing like that. If anything, they'll push me to try to push the team to be better too, you know?
Yep.
So the way that I apply it to my life now is just literally that, always trying to be the best version that I can be, having that discipline and always just being on top of my things, you know, like the sports is just, if you start that from such a young age and, you know, like being on time, right, being consistent, having the discipline, it all applies to real life, you know? It all applies to your career. It all applies to whatever it is you're going to do because it's just that discipline and being consistent, you know? So I guess that's kind of how I would apply it to just what I do now, you know?
Yeah.
I've always been on top of my things, basically.
So like we talked about, you know, you becoming captain now, which is, bro, that's amazing, you know? And I feel like that kind of molds you into where you're at now, though, because, you know, what I'm about to ask you is, how do you manage to compete in these barber battles, you know? And like, we've competed in a few together, bro, and I know, you know, we're kind of reflecting back from sports and kind of like, you know, where you're at now with barbering, but like, do you have that same mindset when you're at these barber battles to where like, you know, you want to compete and you want to showcase like, hey, like I deserve to be here, you know? And I feel like we got snubbed, what, twice, you know? And
Yeah.
I didn't want to be biased or whatnot, but I mean, still being able to get second place out of what, 40 contestants or 40 barbers, bro, that's amazing work, man. So like, how does that make you feel that you're up there with all these talented barbers in the Bay Area?
I think more so than having the mentality of competing with all these good barbers, it's more so just competing with myself and being able to always get better. You know what I mean? Like, I think the first barber competition that I did was when I was like 16 or 17. And I'm competing against these grown-ass men that have already been cutting for years, you know what I mean? Like, so it's intimidating. I didn't even know what I was like going into, but to me, I was like, well, if they're like, you know, got a whole decade on me, you know what I mean? And maybe even more, imagine how I'm gonna be by the time I'm their age. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I've always been basically like with the older heads or something like that, to where it puts me ahead of the game, if that makes sense, for the age that I'm at, you know? So I've always had that drive. I always had that like competition, but it wasn't more so like I want to beat these guys, because I don't even know them at the end of the day. Everyone's going there, I think, just to like really challenge themselves, you know, and put their skills in front of everyone. You know, all these judges that have been cutting for years, and they're really good barbers of the industry. And then just to elevate the whole industry as a whole, you know? I feel like some barbers might see it as in like a competition to say that they're like better than everyone, but that's not what's gonna pay the bills, you know? It's your clientele. So I don't really go into the competition with that type of mentality. I see it more as something that is challenging for me, and always trying to do better for me, and showcasing my work, and just getting better with each competition, you know? So as long as people do see the work and see that I'm putting myself out there and getting my name out there, that's a win for me, you know what I mean?
Would you say that like in high school, like there was a lot of distractions for you while you're trying to figure all this out? Like while you're playing soccer and still cutting hair, like was there a point in your life where you're like, I don't know, man, like is this even worth playing soccer anymore? Like should I just focus on barbering now officially? Or were you just kind of like still trying to balance those two?
I was trying to, but I think probably by the time I was maybe like a sophomore, and I started making money, like decent money for my age, and you know what I mean? I was able to like just basically buy whatever I wanted, and help out my family. I was like, if I could do this, you know what I mean? I think I'd rather just go full in, because I know it's gonna be so hard to go to the soccer route. I'm just gonna go all in, and that's basically what I did, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So Alan, we talked a little bit about, you know, you choosing between, you know, your love for soccer. I know you wanted to go pro, and then, you know, you started to touch real money, and, you know, you kind of were just like, if it's working, it's working. Now, I want to ask you this funny question. What's the cheapest cut, like, you charge somebody, and then what's, like, the most you've ever charged somebody?
Well, I guess when I started cutting, I was cutting in the front porch or in the backyard for $3, bro. Literally $3. And then the most, I think, it was $500.
Woo!
Yeah.
Where was this?
This was here.
$500.
Yeah.
What was that
$500.
story about?
It was that squeezing. It was that like I need it right now type of thing, you know, like. And honestly, like I was actually telling him like the only way I'm gonna do it is if I cut you after all my clients, you know, because I'm not gonna mess around my clients' schedule, because that's something that I really respect is everyone's time, you know. I try to respect everyone's time, and that's the whole point of the appointment, you know. So I was like, you know what? Let me just ask them and see if they're down. And it was on a Saturday, so you know, usually Saturdays it's a little more low key, more chill, you know, like everyone's basically off work. So I did ask my client, and he said he was down, you know. It was basically my second to last client, so I just pushed their appointment a little bit further down, and then I was able to squeeze him in. And yeah, I mean, that was $500 right there. So.
And he wasn't tripping about it?
Well, he wanted to give me $700. But I was like, just give me $500 and it's good, you know?
Jesus, was he going to a wedding? Like, what was this occasion?
I think he might have just gotten out of jail or something, bro.
Shit,
I think he literally just gotten out of jail or something, bro, so. I think he was just happy to get cut, and he needed it. So
Man,
that's how it worked out.
It's funny, man, because back in the days, a lot of people used to get on me about when you used to come to my house and cut my hair. But, bro, those are the quarantine days, remember? So
Oh, man.
it's crazy, bro. I respect Alan so much, man. Like, I remember he wasn't really cutting like that, and I said, Alan, look at my hair, man. I look rough. It was 2 months of no cut.
You were basically like the first guy that I did
See? Let's love
cut like straight out of like COVID. You know what I mean? Like you were the only guy that I pretty much like was like down to like just cut. You know? I was like, all right, I think Dima should be clean. I'll pull up to Dima.
Man, and I had to be, man, because, you know, like, because of Pops and stuff, you know, and my brother being a germ freak. But, like, bro, that's the one thing I love about Alan, man. Like, Alan's always came through for me. I probably annoy the shit out of him with my last-minute haircut sometimes, but I don't think he's ever really failed me. And if he has, like, he'll figure out a way, you know, and I feel like it always works out in our timing. But it's been a crazy journey with him, man. I remember I went and watched him in high school to play soccer, so, you know, I knew this podcast was going to be very like sentimental to me because he's held a lot of value in my life, you know, and I've learned so much from him, and him being younger than me, which is crazy. It's like, I really love the success he's faced, man. And like, Alan, I kind of want you to dive into, you know, you being your first like homeowner at a young age, you know, like the accomplishments you have had, bro, is amazing. And I hope one day you look back at it and like really thank yourself, bro, because I know as men, we're really hard on ourselves, you know, and we try to overachieve. But like, what was that like, bro? Like that first feeling of, you know, getting your set of keys, man.
Yeah, that's something literally that the wifey tells me too. You know, she's like, just chill out and just enjoy that shit, cause like you already did it. You know, that's one of your goals that you wanted. So, yeah, like literally that, like not even just like stepping back and thinking like, damn, like I actually already did it. You know, like, so yeah, I mean. Got the first property at 21. It was a goal that I told myself I wanted to do when I was 18. So basically when I did decide to go like full on barbering, and by the time I was full time graduated and I was like cutting, that's what I told myself was one of my goals. I want to be able to get a property by the time I'm 23. So then when I got with the wifey, that was also something that she wanted to do too, you know? So it was kind of easier for us both to be able to like work towards that same goal, and got it done at 21. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, it was it's not easy for sure, you know. But I guess just getting with the right team and just having that basically that goal and that vision of like, okay, like this is what we're gonna have to do in order to like get it done. Like you kind of just remind yourself, and then you're like, okay, like little things that you might have been doing that are gonna basically like prolong that, you know what I mean? You realize like, okay, like you gotta stay disciplined, you know, in order to make it happen. So it was definitely like hard, but then you think about like what you're gonna be able to get, and it's just like, okay, like I'm down to like stick to the plan, and you know what I mean? Like having that support system with the wifey, and you know what I mean? It just helps for sure, you know, like I couldn't have done it without her either, you know, because she really motivates me and makes me be the best version that I can, you know. So, and then you have the son, and it's just like, you know what I mean. You just have so much to work for, you know. So it just ended up working out, you know. But I do kind of just same thing you're saying. It's just like, you know, like not even like not to say that it's not like crazy to me, but to me, I knew it was gonna happen. You know what I mean? So, but it doesn't mean that just because I knew it was gonna happen, I shouldn't celebrate it. I shouldn't, you know what I mean? And to me, I'm already thinking in another 5 years. You know what I mean? And it shouldn't be like that. You know, I should actually enjoy it. You know, and enjoy what has already happened. You know what I mean? And that's what my wife would be telling me. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean.
Bro, that's amazing work, man. I'm really proud of you for that, bro. Enjoy it. Like, you know, keep stacking those, and you know, the more houses you can get, man, the more you can flip them, you know, rent them out. So I already know you have that business entrepreneur mindset, you know, which is amazing. But I want to kind of piggyback on your journey, like, you know, growing up, man. Like, would you say that like you faced hardships when it came to like your journey? Like, would you say like it was a little rough for you to kind of like have the support system around you, or would you say the support system was always there from a young age to like how you are now?
I'm really happy that I had that support system for sure, you know? But a lot of people, especially by the time I started cutting, like barbering wasn't as popular as it is right now. It's really like looked down upon. It's like it's just like a hobby, or it's just like, you know what I mean? Like people don't really take it so serious. And I could also see that because of how some barbers carry their business, how some barbers could be literally the complete opposite of how I run my business. So I could also see that. But it was more of like the outsiders kind of like telling you, you know, or okay, like you're cutting, like, oh, well, are you gonna go to like college, or like, you know what I mean? What else are you gonna do? You know what I mean? So having that constantly, or just from like social media or whatever, like it for sure gets to you. But luckily my immediate family and everyone supported it. You know what I mean? So I guess just having that helped me for sure. But having just constantly to hear, you know, like you don't even have like a real job or things like that, like it could get to you for sure, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess just because I knew what it could lead to and things like that, like I'm just gonna like show people with actions, right? Like I'm gonna show people, I don't gotta like explain myself, you know? That whatever I do accomplish, it'll basically like tell them, you know? Like what could happen basically, you know? If you do choose to do everything correctly, and you do choose to like treat people correctly and run the business the way it should be ran and do everything correctly, like, you know what I mean? That everything is gonna come into light, right?
Yeah. So sophomore year, you talked about how like that's kind of where you decided like barbering is what you want to do. So
yeah.
when you started walking around campus and stuff like that, like bro, like when you started blowing up, like what was that like? Like did people treat you like differently, or was people always like, hey, that's Alan, you know, Alan the barber? Like how was it like in high school, bro? Like being that like barber that really did all these crazy ass haircuts, you know? People like these blends that you're starting to, you know, cook up now. Like what was that like?
Yeah, you start hearing it, you know, like, hey, what's up, Alan the barber, this and that. It might have been like another like few barbers at school, but since I was already like with my Instagram, I started my Instagram when it was like 2016, so like I already had like a lot of pictures and things like that, you know. So people do like recognize it, and that's cool too, you know. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't nothing like crazy, you know. It was just something that I guess if anything helped, because since there wasn't so many barbers, it was like, okay, like we know this is the guy to go to. So that was able to kind of build up my name, build up my clientele. And for example, like with you, right? Like through mutuals, you know, come in, I do a great work and you stick. Why? Because it's hard to find those consistent barbers, right? So it's 7 years. 7 years later, same thing, that consistency is there. I'm reliable, you're reliable. I don't gotta fire you, you don't gotta fire me. And we keep building and building and building, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess having started it from such a young age, what I'm saying, like it helps, you know, because people start talking about you and word gets around, you know?
Yeah, it's funny because like when I heard like, hey bro, this is a 15-year-old barber in Fremont, I'm like, shit, I just moved back to Fremont, you know? So I was like, all right, I'm looking for a new barber. And I was like, all right, cool, you know, like Harris, our mutual, you know, like started going to you. So he was like, all right, Demo, like, you know, check out Alan. So I started to check you out. I was like, all right, man, like, fuck it. Like, Alan messes up a little bit, it's okay, because, like, I know, like, the potential, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, there's no need to fire him because it's, like, he's such a young age, but already knows so much of what he's doing. So, and I think that's the amazing thing about growth and consistency. I feel like some people, like, they worry about the end result so much, but they don't want to put in the work that's going to get them there, you know? So, knowing and trusting that, like, hey, like, he's going to take this serious and eventually he's going to start charging more because he knows what his worth is. So, like, now what I want to ask you is, like, were friends ever entitled to, like, get a discount from you? Because you know how that can go with business. Because, I mean, nowadays, bro, there's females and people that ask me, like, oh, like, can you train me for free? And I'm like, train you for free? Like,
yeah.
We don't have that type of relationship where it's like, you know, I train you for free. So was that something that you kind of went through, you know, during your
I think for some people, they felt like they could, or just kind of like walk over me or things like that, you know, for sure. Or maybe not really to never pay, but more so just like maybe like a discount here and there, or maybe I'll like pay you over here like later type of thing, things like that. Yeah, but Nah, I mean, luckily, I mean, I started out charging $3. You know, it's just like that's a steal. You know, like for me, it was more so just getting the reps in. You know, so it's not like I was charging anything crazy. You know, even to this day, I feel like I could be charging a lot more, but I'm cutting so many people that, you know what I mean? I'm able to reach so many other people that, you know, it could basically keep growing the whole brand by itself, you know? So, yeah, luckily it's never really been an issue like that, you know? I kind of just see it more so as what is the volume and how many people am I actually really connecting with and able to make connections with, and you know what I mean? Things like that. That's kind of how I like to see it more. Luckily, no one really has. How could you say?
Took advantage?
Took advantage of me. You know what I mean? Luckily, that's never happened. You know?
I might have to. It's all good.
You might have to, but I mean,
it's crazy, y'all, because I always tell this to my mom, but when I get married, I'm gonna fly Alan to my wedding, because he's gonna be invited regardless. But that's like one thing I talk about is like, me and Alan are gonna have this conversation in Dubai somewhere before the wedding day, and like, it's all gonna come full circle. But I laugh about it because it's true. Like, so like, Alan, I wanna ask you this. If you could go back in time and change a few things, would you do it?
no.
No?
Like you're saying just like in general, like anything, like
anything, bro. Like, say like, if you were to go back and talk to your younger self right now, and you saw baby Alan, or like junior Alan, you know, like at the time where you could talk, would you be able to tell him everything you went through so he can shift and fix that? Like, would you do it, or would you just let it play out the way it did?
I let God play it out, bro. You know what I mean? God has a plan for everyone. So to me, I was just kind of like, as long as I have my goals set and I try to do the best that I can, you know, like everything will kind of just, you know, fall into place basically. So I let just God basically take the lead, you know?
If you were to give advice to any young entrepreneur watching this, or anybody that's kind of stuck, like what would you tell them? Like, what advice would you be able to give them from the successes and the failures that you kind of went through?
I would say you're just really gonna have to just grind it out, you know, because man, like you're definitely gonna start out super slow, just like any other entrepreneur, anyone, you know, like with anything, you know, it takes time, you know, it definitely takes time, but that's when you really need to put in as much work to be able to like basically try to perfect that skill, and you know what I mean, whatever service it is that you're gonna be able to provide, like try to just make it the best that you can, so that when you do start getting busy, so that when you do have people start talking about you, you're able to deliver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't take those beginning moments for granted whatsoever, because that's what's gonna give you that hunger. That's what's gonna give you that drive to just not want to take advantage of everyone that, you know what I mean, was with you from the beginning. You know what I mean? So I would say really you just have to grind it out. It's just the way it is. You know, like that's how it works. You know what I mean? Like this ain't no overnight type of thing whatsoever. It takes time. It takes years, bro. Like with anything it is, whether it is sports, whether it is business, you know?
Yeah. That's
just what it is. So you just have to grind through it, and always remember your why. Always remember why you're doing it, and know that the end goal, you know, is going to be worth it.
Mm-hmm. And I like that, man, because I think we always have to remind ourselves what our why is, you know? And I think now for you, man, like, you have a little junior of yourself, you know? So, like, having a son now and being a father at a young age, bro, like, your back is not against the wall, but it's kind of like you do it for him and your wife, you know? And I love that, bro. I think that's a good take on that. I was going to ask you, like, what are 3 things that you loved about sports, and what are like 3 things that kind of like was like a negative aspect in your life with sports?
I'd say like just the whole brotherhood aspect of it. The whole brotherhood is, man, if you've never played in a team and you haven't gone through losses and wins and gone through all that, like you know, especially when you're young, you know, it just teaches you so many lessons within that, you know. So I think brotherhood is definitely like a big thing for me with sports, you know, and also just challenging yourself. You know what I mean? Like you're able to see that progression over time. You know, like let's say you have like tape of you from doing something It could be whether it is drills or in game, whatever it is, and then you see it even 5 months, 6 months. If you are putting in that work, you can see the little bit of progression, and when you see it over from like a even longer time frame, it's like damn, like I've really been putting in that work, and it shows, right? So seeing that progression also, and yeah, I mean, I think I don't know, it's just I guess if you're a really competitive person, sports is always going to be competitive. So you know what I mean. You always want to basically be the best, right? So just having that also aspect. But I guess that could also be a negative thing too, you know, like just, you know, forgetting why you're doing it and things like that could also get in the way. You might even break some relationships, things like that. You know, I'm pretty sure like you've gone through a lot of that. Maybe like a teammate you might want for a team, and then you're like, oh, well, I want to get this guy, or maybe it's like a family member. Like, why are you choosing this guy? You know what I mean? Things like that.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's tough these days, bro. Like, and I know you mentioned like relationships too, because I kind of want your insight on that. Like, would you think
so
like
you can't please everyone? You know, it's like,
bro, it's crazy, bro. The game we play, man, you can't please everybody, and I've learned that as a leader, bro. Like being the leader of my team right now, you know, it's hard, bro, because there's gonna be a lot of people that get upset with me, you know, and it's like, well, I should be playing more than this person, but it's like, can you do that person's job better than they do it? You know, like there's one thing to do, like, oh, I deserve to play because I'm a better athlete. It's like, okay, sure, but it's like, there's an overall IQ when it comes to sports. Like, how are you preparing for the game? How are you understanding the game, you know? So I want to ask you, Alan, like, do you think there's a lot of distractions when it comes to people who want to chase this dream of sports? Like, when you mentioned you wanted to go pro, like, do you think there's a lot of distractions that come with it to where it changes your mindset, and like all these younger kids, you know, like, do you think you recommend like them to be in relationships with like boyfriend, girlfriend while they're trying to chase this dream? Or do you think they should just focus on the importance of like that sport?
I would say nah.
Yeah?
Like, yeah.
Be single?
Vice versa. It's like, whether, yeah, it don't matter. I think having that, it's just going to be hard. Like, especially when you're so young, like, you got to put your all into sports, you know? It's like a everyday grind, you know? So if you're able to find that balance, that's good too, you know, but it's definitely going to be hard. And I mean, just me, I could just speak from experience too, like not giving that time to that certain person. It's like, okay, like, you know, it'll get to them, you know? And so imagine adding all of these other things and sports and everything. Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of time. So I would say definitely try to stay away from it, you know? And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's fine, because at the end of the day, you know, if that's what your goal is, you're just gonna have to, like, you know, see if it's even gonna be worth it, you know? Because you might be doing all that years and years, and then for it to not work out, and you know what I mean? It's like, it wasn't even worth it, you know? And you could have been making so much more progression for what you actually want, you know? Rather than having that distraction. So I would definitely say, like, let's stay away from females, you know? Like,
Man,
for sure.
We've had our fair share of talks on that too. You know, we can't dive too deep in it too, because it'd be a long talk. But yeah, man, I think distractions is one thing, but I think, yeah, the female aspect, guys, bro, I recommend you guys to focus on your craft, man. Like, yeah, it's one thing to find a girl that doesn't stress you, and I think that's like once in a blue moon, because I don't speak for every woman to be somebody toxic in your life, but like Alan said, you know, like, if you invest fully into something, like, you don't want to invest in it in a bad way where you're just kind of having regrets and say, like, well, I didn't make it because of this, you know? And it's a lot of things that you know, you could dive into that. But like, Alan, was there any distractions in high school that kept you from, you know, trying to go pro? Or would you just say that, like, barbering just kind of was the reason why you just stopped, you know?
I think also not having like the school, you know, like the school didn't really help too much either. So for me, I was like, well, why am I gonna be wasting my time, and I'm not even able to like get any type of film? I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I was having my little brother come to my games to try to get film for me, you know, like, so when you don't even have like school trying to help out the whatever is like the sport program, like it's just even harder, you know, like, because you got some cameras that'll literally follow you, right? Like, things like that, you know, like things that'll actually help you. Like, you got to do all that on your own. Like, that's even harder. Like, I'm trying to just focus on playing, not making sure like I got someone like recording me, you know? Like, so that was also like part of it too. And I'm just like, you know what, like it's gonna be way too hard at this point. It's hard as it is, and I know there's like so much even greater talent at this point. You know what I mean? I started already like, you know, kind of like moving away from it. I'm like, I'm just gonna go all in with barbering because I know like I'm already ahead of the game. I know the potential and I know where I could get to, you know? So yeah, I mean, I'll say that, you know?
So American high school wasn't that great. I think we all know that, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, when I was playing freshman football there, it was trash, you know, and I'm sure one day when I interview Ricky, bro, he'd tell you about it too. But it's crazy how everybody in my circle has tied into American somehow, you know. But it's crazy how it comes full circle. But yeah, bro, like how was that American experience, bro? Like I know you said you were a captain, sophomore year, right? So or varsity sophomore year, but then you ended up being voted team captain, like
Junior, senior year.
Junior, senior year. Like, was your soccer experience at American really bad, bro, or like?
I feel like a lot of the team kind of wanted me to carry a lot, so it puts that pressure on you. And like, let's say like whenever I got hurt, I would just feel like I just basically like
Let the team down.
You know what I mean? And I'm like over here trying to like basically play with like cuts on my eyes and this and that or whatever. You know, it's like you just feel like you have this important role to fill, and it's just like whenever you're not able to deliver, it's like damn, like you know. And I think that was also part of why I really wanted to like, do good at American because of the history of American. But I don't know. I think I did want to, but it wasn't. I got to a point where I was like, I don't even care at this point. Like, I want to make the most out of it and make it fun. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know I'm not gonna be able to go past this. Let's just enjoy it and let's just enjoy the last years that we have together. You know, because we're probably all gonna go and do our own separate thing. You know what I mean? So let's just enjoy this time that we do have together and try to do good. You know, but also just kind of enjoy it at the same time.
Would you say you were the best player on the team? You can be honest, bro. It's okay. They won't get mad.
I mean, maybe like top 5, you know, I'll say that. Like,
so who is like your top 5 like all-time American soccer players? And you don't have to rank them, like, but like who?
Their names?
I mean, yeah, you could throw their names.
I mean, I don't even know, bro. Like, I just know there was good talent that now they're playing like. Okay, well, the first guy straight off my head would be like Ashish.
Okay.
Ashish, do you know Ashish?
To be honest, bro, maybe, but
okay, Ashish was basically like the guy, you know what I mean? And now I think he's playing
somewhere.
I forgot which university.
If you watch this podcast, bro, drop it in the comments where you play at.
I think he's playing Division 1 right now, and you know you can see his games on ESPN. You know, so that to me, you know, was like dope. You know, because I could say that
what class
he has every right to be playing. You know, like he was a year above me.
Okay.
Yeah. Or it's Orange County. Yeah.
And that's a community college or something?
No.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, you play with people like that. It's like they have every right. You know what I mean? To be up there because you could see all the work that they put in too. You know. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely like the first guy that comes into my head. You know, like for sure.
So Alan, if I challenge you in a penalty kickoff, you think you beat me?
Nah, you for sure beat me.
You think so?
Nah, bro, come on.
Come on, bro. You don't think I'll beat you at all?
Nah, ain't no way.
All right, okay. If not that, what about a 3-point contest? You think you got it?
You play basketball?
Nah, I mean a little bit. A little bit, man. Nah. I'm more of a baseball player, honestly.
Nah, you probably beat me too.
Honestly, one day, Alan and I are gonna have to get in the ring.
Let's do it.
It's crazy.
I got gloves in the car right now, actually. Let's do it right now.
Yeah. He basically said, like, let's get it.
Let's do it.
Alan, I know we talked about soccer. I know we talked about, you know, barbering. Like, let's dive into boxing a little bit, right? Because it's a brutal sport. I want to talk about your first fight, man, and what did you do to prepare for that?
First fight. Well, I technically only had one amateur fight. I had to prepare for it kind of like on my own at a certain degree because coaches over here with the pro boxers. So it's like I'm also working and this and that. So that was hard, because my son was actually going to be born a few months after, So to me, I was like, I'm not going to be able to have that time. I'm just going to try to do as much as I can right now and like try to get prepared so that I can at least say that I was able to do the fight. But it was a lot of like for example, doing a lot of road work, just trying to like put in like that time in the mornings. It's super like just early mornings, late nights, just trying to get as much work as I can. But man, if you're not training every single day and good diet and good sparring, bro, it's just so hard. Like you don't really know until you know. And I don't know if you've already done like some good sparring with like rounds and stuff, but you'll be able to tell. And then it's not even that, because then you got to think about it when you do start competing. They're trying to knock you out. You know what I mean? Usually when you're sparring, it's still not 100%. So it takes a lot, and that's why with boxing, I mean, you can't play. Like you got to be all in 100%. You can't really half-ass it. And I felt like I wasn't able to give it 100%. So I came up short. But I still didn't do it as bad as I thought I did once I saw the film. But to me, I still kind of was like, if only, I did put in that extra time or whatever, or even if I just did a little bit extra, like probably could have got it type of thing, But you really got to go all in, with whatever sport it is, but especially boxing, you got, that has to be your life, man.
Yes, sir. All right, Alan, man, we had some very insightful talks, man. I know we didn't talk about everything about your career and your life, which is a good thing because everybody watching is going to want to see more from us, and which they will. We're probably going to have part 2 sometime, soon, whenever time permits it. But as we're closing down for our podcast, man, I just wanted to ask you, man, like, moving forward, what are some of the things that you're going to be doing differently going into this new year of 2024?
Big thing that I want to do is be able to give back a lot of the things that I've been able to learn, throughout my whole journey. So I do want to start picking up on educational classes for everyone, and that's something that I really I've been wanting to do, and I've been pushing it. So now I feel like this year I really got to do it, So that's something that I'm really gonna try to do. Give back to everyone that's thinking about becoming a barber. Is stuck in a position, where they feel like they can't grow or things like that. Like I really want to push the education and give classes, give classes to where people could come and ask me questions in person, and hopefully that could help, anyone. So that's kind of like one of the biggest things for me this year is basically doing a bunch of classes for everyone and getting that going.
That's amazing, man, and I'm looking forward to seeing that, bro. I think you deserve it. Also making good content out there, because what if one day I wanted to start tapering my hair, So
exactly.
It's like being able to have videos like that, especially like me being like a client, bro. Like I'd be interested in watching those videos. So that's a big positive, man. Like we'll be on the lookout. You want to let everybody know what your at to all these things are. We'll drop it in the video, but you can also say it if you want to.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Instagram @ _Alanthebarber. And stay tuned for the date for my first class. It should be in February. So yeah, stay tuned, and hopefully I see everyone there, run it up.
Any last reflections, bro, before we go?
I don't know. You tell me.
Honestly, I'll say, like, Alan, man, I'm proud of you, bro. Keep doing it, bro. This is another great year for the both of us. I think, you've always kind of been there when I would always talk about, like, what videos I was going to drop, whether it's, like, my YouTube journey, whether it was my vlogs, man. You always been supportive. And, as a barber, man, like, I'm sure you listen to all your clients. It's kind of like therapy,
Yeah.
So now that I'm able to hear your story and journey, man, it's amazing because I'm learning more things about you that, we don't get a chance to talk about, because within an hour window, bro, our talks go by fast. Barbershops are busy. Sometimes it'd be one of those days where we're both just tired, but I'm glad that you're able to share your story, bro. I'm praying for your success, for your son, your family. I'm glad that you're on the show, man, and you know this year is gonna be an amazing year, like I've been saying. So I can't wait for our second, you know, episode with you here in the barbershop or wherever it is. Who knows? It could be in Dubai or the beach. Stay tuned.
Let's go.
But one thing, man, this year, you know, if I were to have my boxing fight, I would love for Alan to be by my side in the ring, man. That would be amazing. So stay tuned for that. And then make sure you guys tune into our episodes, weekly episode. That's 2 videos down with 510 Shooter, aka my right hand man. We're gonna get it going. Stay tuned, because next week we're gonna be in another location. But Demo3, Demo Athletics, whatever you wanna call me, I'm out of here. Alanthebarber, we out of here.
Peace.
Too.